Today we're breaking down Quant versus Wormhole, two complete different visions on how to connect blockchains and why institutions are paying very close attention to both of them. So we're going to walk through the difference between Quant and Wormhole, and my goal by the end of this video is for you to have a better understanding of what each project is doing. And I believe by the end of this video, you will see that Wormhole and Quant are not competitors. They are actually very complementary to one another. And that is my goal at the end of the video, is for you to understand. And I need to let you know this video format will be very different from my typical videos. And I'm doing this format and I'm doing this video because I get a lot of questions about Quant, and I'm doing a Wormhole series and I'm still getting these Quant questions, and which is great because I personally hold Quant, but I also personally hold the W token from Wormhole. I personally believe in both projects. The future will be interoperable. There will be multiple needs for different projects, different companies. They are not competitors. And I hope you see that by the end of the video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I don't want to waste any more time. So it is going to be a PowerPoint presentation for the most part of this video. I'm sorry if that's not your style, but there is a lot of solid information that will give you better clarity on these two different projects. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start off with the first slide here. So take a look at your screen with me. So we have Wormhole on the left that is going to connect blockchains, move tokens and messages, bridge between chains, as to where Quant connects across blockchains, links apps and systems, unified operating system layer. So Wormhole moves between chains, Quant orchestrates above chains, different layers of interoperability. That's key to know there. So let's keep going to the next slide. We're going to show how they're not competitors. So you'll take a look at your screen, keep on checking it out. So they're not competitors. We have Wormhole solves movement, as to where Quant solves coordination. Wormhole moves assets and messages. Quant manages multi-chain logic. Wormhole DeFi native. Quant enterprise native. Wormhole lower abstraction. Quant higher abstraction. The core architecture as we move through is Quant's core purpose is universal interoperability and operating system, where Wormhole's core purpose is cross-chain messaging and asset transfer protocol. Design philosophy for Quant is replace the need for bridges via abstraction. Wormhole's philosophy enables secure communications between blockchain. Quant's primary layer is middleware operating system layer. Wormhole is protocol messaging layer. They are neither one of them are blockchains. So now that we have a better understanding of a very top line view of the two projects, we need to look into their interoperability between them two and how they both approach interoperability differently. I don't think it's right or wrong. I just think they're simply differently. So let's go ahead and check out what I'm talking about. Look at your screen again. Interoperability approach for Quant. How chains connect for Quant is through Overledger APIs, where Wormhole is through Guardian validated messages. Quant bridge dependency is designed to avoid traditional bridges, where Wormhole functions as a bridge-like protocol. Data versus assets, Quant focuses on data, logic, and workflows, as to where Wormhole focuses on asset transfer messaging. Abstraction level for Quant is very high, chains abstracted away. For Wormhole is low, chain aware integrations. Now as we move on, we're going to look at the target users and adoption. So target users and adoption, sorry about that. And we're going to see the different targets they're going for essentially. So let's take a look. So as you see, I gave up on the fancy one by one thing. I'm not a PowerPoint person, so forgive me for that, but it's so tedious to keep doing that. Just being real with you guys. So target users and adoptions, we have the category for primary audience for Quant is enterprises, institutions, governments. Wormhole focuses on DeFi, Web3 apps, multi-chain users. Developer experience for Quant is going to be enterprise APIs and maps, which is multi-purpose apps, where Wormhole developer experience is more smart contract integrations. See, retail visibility for Quant is very low because it's more for enterprise institutions, as to where Wormhole is very high and is visible for DeFi users. So institutional focus for Quant is strong, as to where Wormhole is still growing, and Wormhole is still growing for institutional focus. As you know, recently back in December, they teamed up with Ripple with the RLUSD, etc. So they are still growing, and that's why I think Wormhole is still developing. We're still fairly new to this project. So if you made it this far in, please consider hitting that like button, leaving a comment down below, and let me know which project you prefer. Is it Wormhole or is it Quant? And if you like this kind of content where I'm not going to hype you up, give you price predictions, and just make you feel good, I'm going to give you information, give you facts for you to take to invest with later, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm still about 30 subscribers away from hitting that 5,000 mark, so please consider hitting that subscribe button if you like this kind of content. And let's keep on rolling, and let's check out the security models, and now we can get the better understanding of who they're targeting, what their functionality is. Now let's see how they operate through different security models. So take a look at your screen with me. We have security model for Quant is abstracted interoperability layer. For Wormhole is guardian node validation. Attack surface for Quant is reduced no direct bridge custody, where Wormhole has higher smart contract exposure. Past exploit, Quant has none tied to Overledger, as to where Wormhole has a history of bridge-related exploits, industry-wide risks. So for Quant, they're good. They haven't had that exposure as to where Wormhole has had that exploit. But I want to point out that Wormhole did have an issue back in 2023, but they actually paid everybody back the next day, which is pretty much unheard of in the crypto space. They were on top of it. They got exploited. They fixed that problem right away. They learned from it, and they built and developed further from that point. That was 3 years ago, so keep that in mind. So go back to security model. We have trust assumptions, where Overledger for Quant accesses control and licensing, and where Wormhole is the guardian decentralization. So they both have tokens, right? So their tokens are very much different, and I know this is where people kind of get into the weeds of things. So we have Quant, which is a utility token, and we have Wormhole's token W, which is a governance token. Now look at the difference between the two. A utility, of course, is to access a network, whereas the governance, you're going to have the say-so in the network, yield rewards, things like that. And I know Quant is going to be a different price point because Quant has, like was it 14 million? I forget the number, I should have brought that up. But 14 million or so tokens, as to where Wormhole has 10 billion. So yes, that price difference will be quite different there. Let me explain why I invest in both. I think Quant's going to be a great payoff sooner than later, as to where I think Wormhole, yes, may take some time to see that payoff, but at 2 cents, I think it is right now, you can really stack up on Wormhole. And let's say it only goes to 10 to 15 cents, 2030, 2035, and you stack up appropriately, that's still a great payoff in my opinion if you hold or hodl a certain amount, and when we see that better payoff. And I'm not saying that's where it's going to cap at. I'm just saying, for me, I think of the smaller plays too, not just the bigger plays. I think a lot of people in the space get stuck on bigger plays and they miss the smaller plays. I always lived on a motto or a phrase, don't step over nickels to get to dollars. And I feel like a lot of people do that in the crypto space, when really you should be collecting those nickels as you're leading to those dollars. I hope that made sense. So let's move into the token utility so we have the better understanding of the difference between the two. So take a look at your screen here. We have Quant. Token role is to access licensing for Overledger, where Wormhole is governance, staking, security incentives. So required for uses for Quant, yes. Required uses for Wormhole, not always required for end users. Speculative exposure. Quant has very low speculative exposure, as to where Wormhole does have high speculative exposure because they are still growing and people are still trying to figure out who Wormhole is. So let's move on to the next one, which is going to be scalability and flexibility. And this is where you're going to see them really be different from each other, in my opinion. So check out your screen here. We have Quant supported chains, any via API abstraction, where Wormhole has 30 plus native integrations. And then we have adding new chains. For Quant, it's faster, no redeploy needed, as to where Wormhole requires integration and validation. Custom workflows is very high for Quant, where Wormhole is very moderate. Composability, we have enterprise grade, and then Wormhole, we have DeFi grade. So before we move into two more slides for you guys, we'll be done with the slides, but we're about to walk into the pros and cons of each one because I think it's important for everybody to understand the difference between the two. I'm going to ask again before we move in though, if you like this kind of content, please hit that like button, leave a comment down below, In my previous Wormhole video, I asked you guys to please hit that like button because these videos do tend to flop, especially when we're talking about something like Wormhole or Quant, that they don't have a lot of demand out on YouTube. You'll see this Wormhole video here only received roughly 500 views, and that is typical for my videos to see 1,000 to 2,000 views by this time. It's just because there's not a lot of demand for Wormhole. So if you want to see more of these deeper dives behind projects that you don't get a lot of exposure to, please hit that like button because that's the only way we can keep making these videos. So let's keep going forward and let's go into the pros and cons of each one of them so we have a better understanding. So let's look at Quant first. So Quant's pros is avoid traditional bridges risks, enterprise-ready architecture, high abstraction simplifies multi-chain logic, strong institutional narrative, designed for long-term infrastructure. Their cons, closed source components, less visible in DeFi, steeper learning curve, slower retail adoption. Now we have Wormhole's pros. Proven at scale in live DeFi environments, supports many major chains, enables asset transfers, NFTs, messaging, strong ecosystem partnership, developer friendly for Web3 apps. Their cons for Wormhole is bridge-like risk profile, larger attack surface, depends on Guardian decentralization, more exposed to DeFi volatility. So we can see that both of them have pros and cons. We can see that they have different use cases and they go about bridging blockchains differently. I don't think either one is right or wrong per se. I think they just have different functionalities. And now as I walk through the summary of this last slide, I think you will be able to understand what I mean by that. So go ahead and check out your screen again with me here. Wormhole connects blockchains to each other. Quant connects applications and institutions across blockchains. Two different functions there if you're picking it up. So let's give a better understanding. We have Wormhole equals the roads between the city, where Quant equals the GPS and logistics system managing all routes at once. Hopefully you see the difference here. One is going to be more retail focused, which is what I think more Wormhole is going to be, as to where Quant is going to be more enterprise institution focused. And again, two different problems they're trying to solve here. I see Wormhole being ready for Web3, future DeFi, gaming. They have a lot more use case for it, as to where Wormhole Quant does have a great use case and utility, and it's very well needed, but it doesn't do the same thing that Wormhole does. They are two different projects, two different problem solving, two different ways to get there. They are apples to oranges. So I hope you see the difference there. If you did like this video, you did learn something new, let me know down in the comments. Are you more of a Quant person or are you more of a Wormhole person? I am really curious about that. But before I let you go though, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and become that change you want to see. I'll see you on the next one.